Hey, it's been a while. And you know, I just want to do a bit of an update, go over a little bit of why I took a break and maybe what I want to do from now on, which I think is fair. That's what an update's supposed to do, right? Thankfully, though, this particular update will not cause Steam to make you reset TF2, so that's a good thing. Jokes aside, I think a lot of why I've taken a break is just, it's hard to stay motivated in a lot of ways. Because when I made this channel, I think I made it to try and fill something that was lacking in my life. And it feels like it really hasn't gotten me what I needed, if that makes sense. So I've definitely been focusing more on offline and trying to fill that void. And I think part of it has to do with, honestly, the money issue. I was hoping at some point I could make some amount of supplemental income, maybe not like PewDiePie levels of income, but, something that would help pay the bills. And part of this might be my fault. I haven't uploaded as regularly as I could, so YouTube probably doesn't promote my channel as much as it could. So that's on me. But it's also frustrating because even when I was trying to do that, it felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere. I got one pledge on Patreon, and that's kind of about it. And look, I'm happy that someone pledged, but it's like I was hoping at some point I could maybe make a couple extra $100 a month. And, when you put a bunch of effort into something and you get $1 a month in return, it's disheartening, if that makes sense. Because again, I don't make enough to move out on my own as it was. I was hoping this was something that I could, get extra money on, and it just seems like it's not going as fast as I want it to. And part of that also might be I don't diversify enough, so I'm going to try to do that in the future, and I'm going to talk about that briefly. Shortly, not briefly, because probably the bulk of the video is going to be about that. But yeah, that's definitely frustrating. I'm not trying to say I'm trying to sell out or anything, but would it be nice to maybe make enough to where I could, rent a place and not have to worry about money issues? I think that's fair. I think that's realistic. Not greedy or anything. It's not like I'm saying, I need $10,000 a month. If I could get $10,000 a month, I wouldn't complain, but it's not like I need that. Loneliness is definitely another issue. When I made this channel, and still now, I feel very chronically lonely. And I think a lot of people do. But I think it's one of those things where I was hoping I could make some semblance of friends on here. And it just seems like I haven't really made any good friends yet. There's definitely people I'm on good terms with, but I wouldn't say they're really good close friends, and that's not really combating the loneliness. And I get that YouTube is not designed for that. It's designed for video entertainment, so maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, but I don't know. It's just frustrating. Again, loneliness is a serious problem. It's been that way for me for years, and it's what am I supposed to do about this? I was hoping this could at least partly solve it, and it hasn't. And other things haven't either, and it's I don't even know what the hell to do about that. So it's kind of frustrating because it's why am I doing this? I'm not really making money, and I'm not making friends, and I'm putting a bunch of time and effort into it. It's wouldn't I be better off putting that time and effort elsewhere if I'm not really getting much out of it? Because again, it doesn't take that long to edit and upload reactions, but it adds up over time. So I got to get something out of it, I think. And as for diversification, I definitely think in the future I'm going to have to diversify a bit. There'll still be occasional reactions, but I definitely am going to shift focus away from that, at least significantly. And there's a lot of things that I want to do just to diversify, maybe get a more varied audience, and maybe see if that can help me achieve some of these goals. I mentioned TF2 earlier. I want to do a series, a how to beat Wave 666 tutorial series, where I beat it as all the different classes and use different weapon loadouts, maybe do all same class challenges or something, and just put text on the screen to say what I'm thinking when I do that, so that you can do it too, without having a bunch of really good friends that you party up with. I definitely do that sometimes, and definitely helps. Almost too much, to be honest, because it feels like you're kind of, when you have 5 other people on the server that are really good, it's almost not even a challenge. And it's I like the idea of overcoming a challenge, not, just destroying the wave to the point where it's well, I could have just not even been there and it probably would have turned out almost exactly as good. I like a challenge. But yeah, I want to do that. I also want to do more of those text-to-speech based videos. You saw the most recent video I uploaded, the interview with the bad person or whatever, which had a picture of Scumbag Steve with a bunch of hats because he played TF2. I want to do more of those style of videos, just pointing out, like, kind of addressing crap that's bothered me in my life, and just things that annoy me in general, like the people who bid one higher on The Price is Right. I want to make one about them. I want to make one about, like, Karens in the store. I don't know. I don't have a complete listing right now. You have to come back for that. But I definitely want to make those a more common feature, because I think it's, as long as you don't go overboard, I think it's a good way to just get your frustration out of your system in a humorous way. Because, I mean, they are funny, right? Funny how I'm like a clown. I also want to do Advance Wars by Web replays. I mean, I think I'm fairly good at Advance Wars by Web. I'd like to, replay both mine and maybe other players' games and give commentary on what I think, what they could have done differently. Just throw my hat in the ring on that. I'd also like to do a science series, if that makes sense, where, like, you discuss scientific concepts like lifespan of stars, stuff like that, scientific stuff, and just go into detail. There's definitely other channels that do that, but I think I know a fair amount about that. I used to be really big into that stuff. I have to say, light pollution around my house has kind of killed interest in a lot of the astronomy, but it's still, I definitely stuff some interest, and I'd like to talk about it. Reddit, I'd like to do some of those Reddit readings, because that seems to be kind of taking off, and I definitely want to just, I don't know, I think it would be a good way to get some heated dialogue from me, because I definitely don't agree with the way Reddit acts sometimes, and I would not pull punches in my videos. Like, I swear, some of those "Am I the Asshole" things, it's like, the Redditors they don't have a grasp on reality, and they don't have empathy, and a lot of people, I feel, sort of just, don't really call that out properly. I don't know. So I wouldn't take that. Like, if I saw a comment that's, like, ridiculous and whatnot, I would definitely call it out. I also think it's a good springboard, because, like, sometimes they bring up issues in the post that you want to talk about, but you don't know how to fabricate it on your own. But when they talk about it, you can, like, sort of say, this is why this is a problem, this is how it's a problem, and this is why this and that. I don't know. Yeah, there's definitely important issues I want to talk about there as well. I want to also do that stories thing. I remember I mentioned on the Film Fiction Majorly Sucks how I tried writing stories in the past, and they kind of destroyed any interest in that for a while, because they just were completely unsupportive. And it's not even just them, it's kind of everybody was unsupportive of that. Like, I gave it to multiple people, and they all said, "Oh, we'll read it, we'll get back to you and tell you what you think." Then months go by, and you're waiting for their feedback, and then they never give it to you. And it's like, well, you just kind of held me hostage for a few months, because I didn't want to move forward until I got feedback and knew how I should change things, and you never gave me that feedback despite saying you were going to. And then joining writing groups and having people throw you out because, it's not complete enough. And it's like, well, what's the point of a writing group if you don't get feedback on incomplete work? I don't understand, but that's a subject for another video. And then joining subreddits and being banned by mods who clearly didn't even read the damn thing before they banned me. It's like, it's been a nightmare in so many ways, in so many aspects, and it just feels like, it's hard to stay motivated, because you worry, A, if I try it again, it's going to be the same shit, and B, these stories are supposed to achieve something. Like, a lot of them are talking about very personal issues, and I was hoping that I get some sort of empathy and support that I've been lacking in my life up to this point, and it just made things worse. What did it do in Film Fiction? Everyone vote bombed it and ignored me. That's really wanted to put a bunch of time and effort into writing something, if that's how I get treated, right? If I wanted to be ignored, I'd talk to a brick wall. At least I don't have to put a bunch of hours pouring my soul out for it. Again, I do want to do these stories, but it's kind of hard to get around to them. Because, again, like, there's just been no support on any level so far. I also want to do a poker vlog at some point. I guess vlog, not blog. Either way, I'd like to do a poker vlog. I know, like, it's kind of, you go over hands that people play, or you play, and you comment on what your thought process was and how things turned out. Also wouldn't mind adding to that and having, like, hand reviews where people submit hands, or I just take hands I did and I review them, kind of like Jonathan Little does. Not related to Tony Little, America's personal trainer. And then I'd also like to try something new, a dating vlog. I might do this on my other channel, but I want to try, like, a vlog of dating and just listing my experiences and how they worked. And the idea, ideally, is that other people would give their feedback on what they think are good ideas, and I could field test them and say, this worked, this didn't work, this sort of worked. this didn't work and here's why I think. How can we tweak it? Stuff like that. Just seeing what works and what doesn't. Because I know that dating is definitely difficult, especially for people like me who are disabled. It's very difficult to navigate. And I think it'd be nice to have someone who can just say to you, here's what you do to get it to work. Because I feel like that's lacking. Like people, a lot of groups I've joined, they tell you the basic principles, but they don't ever help you apply it in person. So you tend to freeze up. And then what if situations that they didn't cover come up? You know, what if the person doesn't reply immediately? Do you keep texting them? Do you just give them space? Like, I don't think those are things that are covered. So it'd be nice to have a video series where that's addressed and people can say, hey, this worked, this didn't. So, yeah. I guess that's that's all I can think of at the moment. I also forgot Conway's Game of Life. At some point, I would like to do a Conway's Game of Life pattern discussion thing where I know I sort of did something like that in the past where I uploaded like the evolution of different patterns in Conway's Game of Life. I'd like to maybe discuss things like a video discussing the glider, the block, all those other things and whatnot. Again, probably won't get to all this stuff because this is a lot of stuff, and if I did all of it, I wouldn't have any free time offline. So unfortunately, you can't commit to everything. Otherwise, you don't do anything right because you're spread too thin. But there's things I would like to do at some point. So keep an eye out for at least some of this stuff. And remember to smoke weed every day, but not really, because that's probably not healthy.